Hi everyone, how's it going? Welcome back. I know it's been a couple weeks, but during the holidays things always get a little crazy. So I'm back, and last time we gathered, we worked on the throat. And so the throat chakra, it's all about speaking your truth, and apparently a lot had to be said during this period in time. And I think that can go as well collectively as well. So for those who are just joining us, please gather your crystals, anything that relates to the third eye, gather some paper, and a pen or a pencil, whatever you like to illustrate with, and we'll get started. I want to let a few more people gather on. But for those of you who are just joining us, tell me where you're from. I'm currently in San Miguel, Mexico, and it's the holiday time, and I'm super excited to dive into the third eye right now. And so coming up with different shapes, I've added on to the grids, and I'm going to share some of that with us today. But let's see. So here we have the third eye grid, okay? And so with this third eye grid, a little bit about the third eye. Well, hold on. Let's back up a little bit. For those of us who are just joining us, the whole purpose of these lives is to build an energy grid, a simple energy grid with little to few items that you have available. So for example, if you're traveling or if you're in the process of moving, but you still want to build some sort of grid, some sort of altar, this is a really easy, accessible way to do it. And we've been doing a journey through the chakras, and this week we are on the third eye. And so with the third eye, ajna, its seed sound is Aum. So if you want to do like a meditation for the third eye, you can literally chant Om or Aum over and over and over again. A little bit about the third eye. It's the meeting place of where the Sushumna and the Ida and the Pingala meet. So basically these are different. For those who are not familiar with like yoga or any of the Sanskrit terms, these are the three nadis, or these are the three energy lines or meridians in traditional Chinese medicine, where they meet. They come to meet here in this center right here. And so it is governed by the moon and the sun, and its element is light. So when you build this grid, I highly recommend that you place this grid in the light, put it in the sunlight, or close to the light where it can just be charged by that element. Some herbs that are really good for the third eye are mugwort, blue lotus, lavender, peppermint, let's see, and eyebright, and any other like vision herbs. Ajna literally means to perceive, okay? And some herbs that are really good: rosemary, and also lavender, okay? And so if you want to stimulate this center, work with rosemary, okay? Now, if this center is overactive, and so we're going to go ahead and get started. So make sure you have your main crystal. We are going to be working with a few new goodies today. I have my opalite owl. I have my owl here. It's a little, let me see if I can adjust the light a little bit. There we go. Okay, so I have my opalite owl here because owls, they help you to see. I have moss agate, because moss agate's all about new beginnings. It's really good for bringing in that fresh energy. I have a little bit of this beautiful piece of pyrite cluster. I have a new one, danbarite. This was just given to me. This is more of a heady stone, but sometimes just because it's connected to one particular chakra does not mean that you cannot use it on other chakras. So danbarite, before we start getting into all of that, I will be doing a video on danbarite, but this is one of the most high vibrational crystals, and it literally connects the head to the heart. And it's definitely one that helps to amplify all the other crystals as well. So this is going to be on the grid. And then I have another crystal baby that I'm just babysitting for the time being. Maybe I'll get one. And this is pyramorphite. This beauty made by volcanic, as a result of volcanic activity, is going to help amplify, increase will, bring in prosperity, all that jazz. And I'm also going to be doing a video on this one very soon, so stay tuned. Okay. And then, of course, I have lapis lazuli. I use lapis lazuli in the last grid, but once again, it's for the throat and it's also for the third eye. So, along with my feeder quartz crystals to help connect and flow the energy a little bit more, and then, so let's go ahead and ground. Have your feet on the ground. Let's take some deep breaths. Close your eyes, breathe in through your nose. Exhale, breathe out through your mouth. 2 more times, breathing in. Exhale, breathing out. Last time, breathing in. Exhale, let it all go. And we're just going to call in our guides, our guardian angels, our ancestors that love and support us on our paths of spiritual growth and evolution. Call in the elementals. Call in all the crystal spirits that wish to work with us. Call in all the plant spirits that wish to work with us. And just take one more deep breath. Exhale, let it go. And let's take our hands and place it on our third eye. And take the moment and ask to be really connected, deeply connected to the third eye. Asking, is it active? Is it underactive? What do I feel there? Does it feel blocked? Does it feel like it has stuff on it? Do I get any visions? Do you see any visions? What do you perceive? Because after all, this is your center of perception. And if you have any headaches or blurred vision or anything like that, dizziness, that's usually an indicator that this chakra is actually blocked a little. All right. So after you've gathered that information, good evening, everyone. I'm going to take the time and I'm going to use my wonderful lapis lazuli pendulum, and I'm going to offer up a little clearing exercise. So for those who are just joining in, be sure to ground yourself, call on your guides, and just be receptive as we invite this lapis lazuli to help us to balance, bring balance, and activate our third eyes. Maybe you'll feel some relaxation in the brow area on your forehead. Maybe you'll feel a small pulse. And maybe you don't feel anything at all. That's perfectly okay. I am present. It is done. Thank you. Okay. And if it feels kind of like dusty or noisy or anything like that, then I highly recommend that you reach out to me and book an energy healing session. A little bit about the third eye is that it kind of protrudes out almost like a elephant trunk energetically. And so this is an area, if you use this often, you have to keep this clean. You have to like dust it off. It can get dusty, especially if you work in any kind of like psychic employment or if you are psychic. And it picks up so much. And when you fully activate this center, this actually opens up and connects all the way to the back of the head. So when this happens, it connects with your jade pillow. When this happens, you have what is called basically like a halo. This gives you like 360-degree vision, okay? So, but most people's they're out here, but when you develop it, it opens up and it connects to back here, okay? I'll be getting into that in a future video. So we're gonna start with building the grid. So, like before, have your basic grid right here in front of you, okay? And this is what I'm going to be building my grid on. Like before, I have all of my previous chakras that I've worked on because I'm building upon the system because I don't like to work on anything just specifically only by itself. And if you're just joining in, please hit that like button and share and subscribe. Thank you. I like to build upon all the other chakras, okay? And so when I do that, I actually stack them on top of each other and I put them in the grid. I include them in the grid. And for those who are just joining in, and if you're just drawing your mandala right now, a little bit about the third eye, you know, it's governed by the sun and the moon. Its element is light, so keep your grid in the light. Some plants that are really good for supporting vision are like mugwort, blue lotus, lavender, peppermint. Peppermint's really good if you have like a headache. Rosemary if you need to stimulate your mind, and then lavender if you need to soothe your mind and sedate it a little bit. Okay. Eye bright is also really good if you have like blurred vision. And some affirmations that are really good for the third eye. Some of the ones that I wrote down is like, I see, I perceive, I see truth and trust in the highest alignment. I trust my intuition and my decisions. I can see and think clearly. I trust myself and I trust my intuition. So anything that has to do with you seeing truth for what it is, how you see things, let those be your affirmations. And if you only have 2 or 3 affirmations right now, that's perfectly okay, because the idea is while you have this grid up and running, that you go to it every single day and you place an intention and you speak one of the affirmations out loud to it. Also, the third eye is the center of awareness. It's your willpower. So why is this really important? This also explains why I'm working with the pyrite and the other gold crystal. The third eye and the solar plexus, they have a special connection because your willpower exists here, okay? And so does your nervous system. Like your brain is here, and then most of your nervous system is in your stomach, even though it's all over your body, but a good portion of the nervous system is in the digestion, the solar plexus region. And so they are intimately connected, kind of like the throat and the sacral chakra. They are intimately connected. One is creativity and the other one is creative expression. And let's see, it's also the center of extrasensory powers and supernatural powers as well. Its colors are indigo and white and silver, and it dictates all of your senses, like your eyes, your ears, your nose, your touch, your scent and taste. And okay, lapis lazuli and amethyst are the most common crystals that people use, but I want you to step out and really ask yourself, when you build these energy grids, what exactly is your intention for this energy grid? So it's nice to have these crystals, but what if you don't have these crystals? So then you make do with what you have. So, also the shapes. For those who are just joining in conjunction with the mandala, we work with different shapes. So there's the triangle, the circle, the square, the interlocking triangles, or the Star of David, or the Metatron, the spiral, the heart, and the seed of life. So the square is about protection, grounding, and stability. So if you want to stabilize this chakra, the square is a really good one for you to work with. The triangle, this is a strong masculine energy, sending out energy, manifest. So if you're really trying to project something outwards, kind of like long distance healing, then working with the triangle would be really, really good. The circle, that's the feminine energy. And so it's about fertility, connection, relationships, and bringing it all together. And sometimes if you need the masculine and the feminine, you can actually combine the triangle and the circle together. And you'll actually see that in a lot of, look. If you look at this, this is the Sanskrit one. You have the circle and the triangle combined because you have the masculine and the feminine. You have the sun and the moon and the different hemispheres of the brains together represented here. Okay? Let's see. Then there's, of course, the heart. That's for love and relationships and harmony. Then there's the Metatron's cube, and that one is really good for any kind of merging or fusion type energies. It's good for general chakra healing, and it's good for clearing and purification. The flower of life, which is this guy right here, is probably the best thing that you can invest into for grid work because it contains all of the sacred geometrical shapes within it. And so it's more of a general one, and it has all the shapes that you can play around with it. You can usually go on Etsy or Amazon or support your local small business that you know that sells metaphysical goods and get it from them. If you know any like wood burning artists, ask them to make you a wood burn or copper impressed grid. Let's see, the last one is the seed of life. The seed of life is the center of the flower of life. And the seed of life represents new beginnings, new shifts, new chapters, things that you're trying to grow. So if you're trying to grow something, you want to use that in a grid. All right. And so this time around, I believe I'm going to use, last week I used, this one. I'm going to use the Metatron, or interlocking triangles, with the seed of life inside of it, okay? And then a little bit of a spiral right underneath it. Something else that you can add on that I just started doing, if you want to incorporate more shapes, like if you want to work the heart, you can write your affirmations on them. You can add an infinity symbol. And then if you want to get really fancy, I forgot the name of these, but this is a little bit of magic right here if you're trying to create prosperity or any kind of things like that. So it's like a play on words, but it does something to the brain. And whatever you create in this shape right here, you will actually manifest. And then, of course, the square. So I like to take these shapes and put them underneath my grid. And then I like to take my mandalas and put them on top of my grid. And then I like to take my primary crystal and place it in the center of my grid, okay? Next, I said I was working with opalite. Opalite it contains almost like the rainbow prism of colors. And I'm really working with the energy of the owl, even though it's a little bit glary here. This is an owl, and so owls are all about vision. So I'm going to place that on the grid. And then I am going to work with my brand new danburite, because that brings amplification and connection throughout all the chakras. Crystal video coming soon. Ooh, this is getting powerful. Then I'm going to put my brand new, I forgot the name. I was just talking about this. Oh, pyromorphite. I'm going to put the brand new pyromorphite in this grid, because this just manifests all kinds of abundance and really amplifies all of my intentions. Okay, and so for those of you who are wondering how I'm placing these, I'm actually placing them kind of like an interlocking triangle, because that's the grid that I'm working with. And then I have like this baby rainbow pyrite here, cluster, because this is for increasing willpower. And if you're just joining on, please hit that like button. And then of course I have moss agate right here, and it has a little bit of like a chalcedony geode inside of it, which is really cool. This is all about new beginnings and really seeing the gems within. And so that's gonna go. And then I'm going to add in, I'm not going to work with the lavender this week. I am going to work with the rosemary, because I want a little more stimulation. So I'm going to add a little bit of rosemary. And rosemary is also really good protection. And then I'm going to add in my feeder crystals. Boom. And, oh, how could I almost forget? They just screamed at me. I don't know if you guys have communication with your crystals, but my Herkimer diamonds just spoke very loudly to me. And so Herkimer works on all of the chakras. So I'm going to go ahead and add in my lovely Herkimer diamond. That was the final point I was missing. And that's why it spoke to me. Okay, cool. So now we have our crystal grid, and I'm going to use this week, instead of my activation crystal, my lapis lazuli is going to be my activation crystal, okay? And for those of you who are new to building grids, the idea is to ask to be connected with each crystal being that you're working with. And then when you take like a deep breath after holding each one, they tell you exactly where they want to be placed, okay? And so now I'm going to actually use my pendulum to activate this grid. My I am presence is commanded that we activate this grid. Okay, this is a really powerful grid. And you can tell by how this pendulum is swinging. Wow. And for those of you who want to learn more about opalite and Herkimer, I have those videos up on my YouTube channel if you just look them up. And then the other ones, the moss agate is also up on my YouTube. And the pyromorphite, the danburite, those will be upcoming newer videos. So stay tuned. All right, so when this is complete, I ask that it comes to a spinning halt. Okay, awesome. So this grid is officially activated. So now I'm going to place it by a window or somewhere a lot of light can hit this grid, so that I can see, so that you can see. And every day I go to this grid, I add an element, I state my mantras, and something small, just a small meditation. Meditation doesn't have to be 30 minutes. It can literally be like 30 seconds to a minute. It's all about the intention, okay? So that being said, does anybody have any questions? Please let me know where you're from, some of your experiences as we have journeyed through all of these chakras. As you know, we have gotten to the sixth chakra, the third eye. And then we get to the crown, and then we get to dive into other things, and we're going to work on lesser known chakras or smaller chakras and other elements. So if you have any suggestions, feel free to reach out to me. I have posted a link in the chat for anyone who feels called to send a donation. Other than that, I'm on Facebook, Crystal Sun Healing. My website is crystalsunhealing.com. I'm on Instagram, crystal_sun_yogi, Crystal Sun Yogi _ in between each word. And I believe the details are in the description as well. And for those who don't know me, I am a crystal healer, Toltec shaman, psychic medium. And if you need any energy work or readings, feel free to reach out to me and we can set up a consultation. Otherwise, I hope everyone has a wonderful evening, and I will see everyone most likely in the beginning of the new Gregorian year. All right. Thank you so much, and namaste.